Hello, fire goddesses, and welcome to episode 94 of Reclaim Your Fire podcast. My name is Angela Noel, and as you know, I am the hostess and the creator of this podcast. In this podcast, I am going all in with speaking the truth to the degree in which I observe and know. And let me tell you, it is not going to be what you hear in mainstream media. And it's going to possibly question your belief systems, which is exactly what I want you to be doing. I want you to be asking all the questions about why things are the way they are, and to question your own reality and to learn to trust yourself more and more. And that's what building your inner empire is all about. It's getting that strong foundation so that you have the resiliency, so that you can rely more on your own intuition and your own personal power to navigate these difficult times. So I'm not going to make this intro too long. I invite you to listen to this episode. It's only 35 minutes or something like that. Listen to it to the very end and replay it over and over again if you need to, and journal and really contemplate what you are hearing, and know that what is coming through for you, whether it be a trigger, whether it be an intuitive download, whether it be a knowing, whether it be some resistance, is all information for you and an invitation to go inward and question even more. So, fire goddesses, stay tuned. Hello, fire goddesses. Welcome to the Reclaim Your Fire podcast. My name is Angela Noel, and I am a prosperity coach for the newly awakened or awake curious, driven overachiever, and overdoer. After running a successful acupuncture practice in Boston for 12 years, I decided to hang my hat by closing the practice and pursue what it is that I'm really meant to do in this world, and that is to serve humanity online on a global scale. Using my background in Chinese medicine, along with the brain science of habits, spirituality, and divine masculine and feminine energy balance, I am here to help you not just understand, but know how powerful you are, and that you are the person who is responsible for having the finances, inner peace, radiant health, and energy, aka the fire, in your life that you've always desired. My intention with this podcast is to serve humanity, no matter what gender you identify as, to help bring out the divine feminine goddess in each and every one of you. As you probably are already aware, the world is changing and is begging for the goddess to come out in each and every one of you. So, fire goddesses, stay tuned. Hello, fire goddesses, and welcome to another episode. As you know, I'm Angela Noel, and I'm the host and creator of this podcast, the Reclaim Your Fire podcast. And I have not done this in a long time. And what I'm talking about is that I'm basically coming on here without a plan. I have a few things that are coming through my consciousness that I want to share, but I don't have it organized, and I don't have a specific topic. But my guides, my higher beings, my team is instructing me to come on here and just talk and just use this platform to help and inspire you to navigate this difficult time. So I don't know what's going to show up. I don't know what's going to come through. It's not really up to me. Stream of consciousness. Here we go. So I woke up this morning and I was playing Florence and the Machine's newest album. Have you heard it? It's called Dance Fever. And usually what I do when I wake up in the morning. I have maybe 8 to 10 songs that are my go-tos when I wake up in the morning. And I don't do this every day, but I do this most days, where I will pick a song. It's usually again, it just comes through me. What song is it that is going to best serve my higher self today? And I do this a lot even when I'm picking songs for my content. Like if I want a specific song in the background, I do this a lot. I ask for whatever's coming through. And, music is a very, very powerful tool to use when raising your vibration. And as I've talked about many, many times on this platform and this podcast, is that raising your vibration and protecting your energy field is your most important asset. So sharing, because this is a ritual that I have really come to enjoy, is that I get out of bed and I tune in and discover what song is calling me, and I put it on. I just actually purchased a Bluetooth speaker because, as you know, I've moved and I got my own Bluetooth speaker, because before that I was just playing through my phone, or I was playing through my laptop, which worked, or I was playing through my Bluetooth headset, which also worked lovely. But I finally decided to be a big girl and buy a new speaker. So this morning I was feeling guided to play this song, which has been one of my songs through this transition that you are all very well aware of if you've been listening to for a while. And if you're new to this podcast, I have been navigating a lot of change in my life, personal change, sharing, because when we share, we all learn, and we are able to grow and evolve when we share our stories. So when I share my personal stuff, I want you to know that that's why I'm sharing my personal stuff. I do appreciate the reach outs. I really, really do appreciate the messages that some of you have left saying, hey, I listened to your podcast. And I want you to know that I'm rooting for you, which is so incredibly sweet and supportive. The last thing I intend when I share is, I'm so sorry you're going through this, because I do not want you to be sorry. That is not my intention with sharing. When you say I'm so sorry for what you're going through, I do think that your language is important. So what is your intention when you say I'm sorry? Whether you say I'm sorry for your loss, or I'm sorry for showing up late. So there is power behind not only your words, but also the energy of your intention. So the reason why I'm sharing this is the last thing I've ever wanted, and this is the reason why I chose not to share that I was going through a divorce. So I have a feeling there's friends in my life that still don't know, because it wasn't something that I didn't call people up and say, hey, by the way, this is happening. I instead shared it with my family and a few close confidants in my inner circle. And the rest, it was public. Once I was ready to share, I shared it publicly. So the last thing that I want is the energy of victimization. And I'm going to touch upon this, I think, today in this episode. That's what's coming through is victimization. So I leave this with you right now. What is your intention with your words when you say, I'm sorry? And only you know the answer. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because we are at a precipice right now in our evolution. And if some of my words, when you listen, feel like they are above your head, I invite you to set the intention right now. Actually, pause this episode right now. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and say these words. I am going to allow this podcast and what Angela's about to say to run through my being, and I know that I will understand it at a much deeper level. and I will understand it with ease. So what this does is it's going to open up your energy. It's going to open up your consciousness. So even at your rational 3D, if your overthinking mind says, I don't get it, you're still going to get it. And it might require that you listen to this a few times, and that's okay. But I want to really emphasize this. This is the most important podcast I've ever recorded. And it's kind of funny because I'm sitting here thinking, still not really sure what's going to come out of this. So I know that many of you listening right now are concerned and scared and worried and feeling helpless and hopeless. I get it. Just turn on the news. I haven't done that in a long time, so I don't watch the news. I maybe have caught clips when I was at the airport. I was at the airport last month, and if I'm visiting somebody, the news might be on. I choose to walk away from that, which I feel is garbage. And the reason why I feel it's garbage is because it's a negative, very negative and low vibrational outlet that instead, where we could be choosing to empower people and give them hope, we are choosing, and I'm not saying we like I'm included in this. I'm also paying attention to my words, because I could say they, I could use the pronoun they, but then you might be wondering, well, who is they? And honestly, right now, that is not something that I am able to talk about. So I invite you to just trust me when I say what I'm saying. Trust me with what I'm saying. The news and the media and some other things they don't have your best interests at stake. They just don't. They make money by your fear and your worry. And basically what that's coming from is your innate desire to survive. It's a survival instinct. It's your fight or flight response. So the news knows this. The news knows that you want to be safe. And the news knows that by scaring you, you are going to react, and you are going to either buy things, or you're going to tune in more, watch more, because that's how they make money. When you watch, they sell ads, they sell, it's all part of their marketing. So that is why I believe it's garbage. That is why I believe that so much of what I've been taught, and I know that there's other people listening have been taught, is garbage. I'll share a personal story with you. So I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. And I believe in a higher power. Yes, I tune into Jesus Christ and God. And I believe that there's many, many ascended masters out there that are guiding us. I believe God lives among us. I believe God is love. And I believe that God is also the unified field, the universe, Gaia, Mother Earth, Pachamama. God is all encompassing. And we are also God. We reflect God in each other. We are reflections of God. So I'm putting that out there. However, I am so grateful, actually, because I was raised by two human beings who encouraged me to think independently. And while they think that I think they're amused by me because I've always been different. I've always been a independent thinker. I've always gone on my own path. I've always followed my heart. I've done some pretty wild things. I mean, nothing crazy. I've never been into drugs. Never did any drugs except for marijuana while I lived in Colorado. Never appealed to me though. Pot never felt good to me. Never did mushrooms or anything like that. But I've always walked my own path. And I remember, thank God, okay, my mom was raised, and I know, Mom, you're going to listen to this eventually, so know that I'm so grateful for this upbringing. I was raised by my mom and my dad. My dad grew up Presbyterian, not very religious though, but went to the Presbyterian church. And my mom was raised with a very Catholic background. So she shares her stories of being Catholic and growing up and, being educated by the nuns, and from the lens of ultimate respect for these nuns. She always says how the nuns are some of the most intelligent women that she's ever met. And I would agree with that. I had 2 aunt-in-laws when I was married who are nuns, and remarkable women, and just so full of love and light and well-read and smart. And I know that for those listening, maybe not everybody here has had positive experiences with nuns. But I guess I'm sharing all this because I have respect for certain aspects of religion. I have respect for the people who actually want to make a difference in religion and realize that God is love and God is light, and share and teach and inspire and encourage and lead from that place. They lead from love because they know that, well, as I say all the time, love heals. And shine, girl, shine. Because that's really when the transformation happens, is when we lean into love, starting with healing ourselves first and loving ourselves first. So as a result of my mom's upbringing in the Catholic Church, when I came around, she said that she did not want the same upbringing for her children that she received. And I think it's because my mom and my dad are also very independent thinkers. And they recognize that when bringing up the next generation, that's going to be a very important thing to happen. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, I was not raised to be a sheep or to follow the crowd or anything. So there's my background for you. However, I didn't go to Catholic school, but I did all the sacraments. I was baptized in the Catholic Church. I had Holy Communion in the Catholic Church. Well, not all the sacraments, because I didn't get married in the Catholic Church, but I was baptized, I had Holy Communion, and I had my confirmation in the Catholic Church. So in order to get the sacraments, specifically communion and confirmation, you need to go through the training, right? So I went through CCD, and I'll never forget this. And I'm sharing because I know there's people out there that were raised in a religious home and have similar experiences. So I was in CCD one night, and we were just having an open discussion with our teacher. And how old are you when you go to CCD and get ready for communion? Or confirmation. I think it was 14. I was 14 or 15. I didn't do it. Of course, I did it a year late. I didn't do it with my peers. I did it, later. So I think I was 14 or 15. And I was at that period of my life where I went to a lot of sleepovers, and the Ouija board was very popular at the time. And I don't know about you, but if you've been to a sleepover that involved the Ouija board, it is a lot of fun. It's a little freaky, but it is a lot of fun. And so I asked my teacher about Ouija boards. What is your feeling about Ouija boards? And I just remember this whole CCD experience in general. I remember enjoying it because I felt that the teacher she was definitely there to serve and to help and inspire and encourage and teach kids. But she was teaching the class again from probably her Catholic upbringing and from her limitations. And she said, Ouija boards are the devil. And Ouija boards, if you use one, you are sinning. Now, there was a lot of other stuff that I could say. I remember sitting up at night, actually, wondering if I was a sinner. Not just because of that question, but because of some of the other things that came up in CCD and societal messaging around sinning, around in the Catholic Church. And think about this, goddesses. You are a 14 or 15-year-old girl, very impressionable, and you're laying awake at night. And if you have kids, I invite you to think of them. And I'm only sharing here. It's not my intention to do anything else but share. But what are we doing to our kids when we teach them that they are sinners and that certain things they do are the devil? I was freaking terrified. I was terrified after hearing that. Like, I'm going to go to hell now? I used to like think about that. Like, am I going to go to hell now because I used a Ouija board as a 14-year-old? Am I under the influence of the devil? And that is another example of why I don't believe that a lot of practices in religion, and I talked about the positives, okay? I already talked about what I respect about religion, but I do not believe that religion is empowering. And that is another institution that is disempowering us. Starting with kids at a very young age, the programming, the indoctrination, the disempowerment happens often through religion. Let's talk about education, shall we? I went to public school in the 70s and in the 80s. And in many ways, I feel very grateful that I went to public school and that I was in the district that I was in. There were a lot of kids. I graduated with 424 kids. I still remember that. I graduated with over 400 kids. And in my high school alone, there were 2,000. So I know there's high schools that are bigger, but there were a lot of kids in my high school, a lot of kids in my district, and some of the best teachers. So as you know, I'm a writer, and English was always one of my favorite subjects. I loved English. And I think about sometimes some of the books that we read in junior high and high school because of the superior quality of education in the English department specifically. So many of the classics I'm familiar with because I read them in school. Edgar Allan Poe, Raisin in the Sun, To Kill a Mockingbird, and many, many others. I'm sitting here thinking, I've tried to think of all of them and now I can't remember, but so much powerful classic reading. However, there were times during my education where I'm going to share with you something that, I don't know, if it gets back to the person, maybe he'll learn something. I'm not going to mention any names, but if you went to my high school, chances are, if you had this guidance counselor, you know who I'm talking about. I remember sitting in my guidance counselor's office, and there was a period of time where I was struggling with school because even back then, I remember there being this pressure. So I just remember that going into my guidance counselor's office and sitting with him and just having some really emotional conversations with him. And basically saying, I don't want to go the traditional route. I want to be a music major. And I know there's people out there listening that felt the same way. And he flat out told me, you can't make any money in music and other things. He was like, when it comes to, when you think about, like, when you think of the words guidance counselor, okay, what is their job? What is their responsibility? Their job and their responsibility is to counsel and give guidance to the future generation. And this guy was not a very good guidance counselor. I've forgiven him. Let's just be clear. I don't carry this in maybe I need to ask myself that. Am I still carrying this in my energy? Maybe, if I'm going to be honest. I might need to look at that a little more and forgive him even more. But he was not encouraging. And I know that he's not the only person. That's how he was trained. It's just like doctors. They're not trained to tell you to go out and buy organic food and eat whole food. They're not going to give you advice on Chinese herbs, right? Chinese herbalists do that. They're not, some of them, and I'm not saying the whole population of doctors, but it's just not in their training because medical school, if you start to do the research and dig a little bit, medicine at one time included all of the medicines. It included what we now look at as alternative medicine and the medicine that we call now Western medicine, allopathic medicine. But at one time they were all like together. Even if you go to India, like I've been to India now 3 times. If you go to see a doctor in India, you will get both remedies. You will get Western remedies, and you'll get oftentimes homeopathic remedies or herbal remedies. You don't just get one thing. And I know that also happens in China, but I hear that in China sometimes they tend to favor more Western because they want to move away from their traditional medicine, right? But I don't think that's always true everywhere. So in traditional Western medicine, basically what happened is, I don't know, in the 20s, if you're listening and you know more about this, like definitely write in and help me out here. I did the research a while ago. But I think it was in the 20s or something where the wealthy families, the Rockefellers and the Carnegies sponsored the pharmaceutical companies. And they started sponsoring the medical schools and were somehow linked to the pharmaceutical companies. And as a result, that is how our main medicine was formed. That is why Western medicine is our primary medicine. That's our go-to medicine, and at least in the United States. So I'm sharing this with you because everything that we know as our normal, chances are has been formed, created out of marketing and money. Look at the Catholic Church. It's one of the richest organizations in the world. So there's some food for thought for you, is to ask yourself, why? Why the truths that we know as truths right now? And those are just, when I talk about the truths, I talk about our belief systems and the why we do things. Go a little deeper and ask why. Where does this come from? Where does this belief come from? Where does this practice come from? Where does this paradigm come from? And start doing the research. And if you don't want to research, just continue to listen to this podcast, because I'll share with you more stuff if you want to. If you want to hear more, or just start following people that talk about this stuff. And I'm going to wrap this up because I like to keep my episodes under 30 to 40 minutes. But the reason why I'm sharing all this with you is because we are at a precipice where life and things feel hard and difficult, aren't we? And this is what needs to happen. First, you need to start questioning everything, okay? If something doesn't feel right, use your intuition. Ask why. And it may not be you need to ask like an expert or a person. I'm talking about going within and asking yourself, does this feel good to me? Do I agree with this? Does my soul know this? Is this in my knowing? Because the answers reside within. Second, you need to start taking responsibility for yourself. Now, I talked about victim mentality. I talked about victim culture earlier in this episode. We are a society of victims, as my mentor Jim Fortin says. We are a society of victims. What that means is that we believe that we are not responsible for anything that happens to us. And if you apply to work with me, that is one of the questions that I ask you. Do you believe that you are responsible for everything that happens to you? And whether or not things happen randomly, like you could say, well, I got into this accident. Did I cause that? Here's the thing. When you start to take responsibility for your life and stop blaming the person that hit you in the accident, you have your power. When you blame that other person for being on their phone, not paying attention, driving too fast, you stay in your anger and you stay in your resentment and you stay in your victim mentality. And when you are in victim mentality, you don't have any personal power. So that blocks your intuition. That blocks your body's ability to heal. That it blocks your connection to God, to source, whatever you want to call your higher power, to make better decisions. So we need to get out of victim mentality and take responsibility for our lives. How does that start? By taking responsibility for your life. Everything that happens in your life is your responsibility. Okay? Know this. Know this is the truth. If your rational mind starts coming in and saying, well, I don't, like my child was born with leukemia. Is that my responsibility? My child was given too many vaccinations too quickly and is now sick. Is that my responsibility? Well, I'm not saying that is right. All right, well, there's two different things happening here. Let's just take the vaccinations. if there's some malpractice going on, right? Yes, that is not right. That is not right. But you have a choice for how you're going to respond. And that is taking responsibility for your life. You could choose to blame the doctors, and you could choose to be angry and bitter and resentful, or you could choose to educate yourself. You could choose how this is your lesson in your life, and this is how you are to grow and evolve, is through learning through this circumstance. Do you understand the difference? And if this is something you struggle with, you're not alone. You're not alone. It requires work every single day. So yeah, do I get in my victim mentality? You bet I do. I get in my victim mentality. But you know what? I have the awareness to get myself out of victim mentality. I realize and recognize almost immediately now when I'm in my victim mentality, and I change my attention. So know this is the truth, goddesses. Okay? I'm not messing around here. Like I said, this is the most important episode I've ever done. You need to start taking responsibility for your life. 3, you need to be impeccable with your health. There's no more messing around here. Like, a healthy body is going to be able to go through these challenging times better. So when you're feeding garbage to your body, well, garbage begets garbage, right? Health begets health. Higher vibration begets more higher vibration. Lower vibration begets more lower vibration. You need to take care of your body, okay? If you don't know how to do it, right? I have a friend right now, didn't know about canola oil, doesn't know that it's inflammatory. Yet you go into the grocery store, what is the oil that's everywhere? Corn oil, canola oil. High in omega-6s, the way it's processed, oftentimes it's genetically modified. So corn oil that's organic, comes from organic corn, I believe is a little bit better for you, but where do you get that? I don't encourage corn oil, canola oil, period. Just find high quality oils, organic, avocado oil, oils that can handle higher heat if you're cooking with them. I can't express the importance of a good quality oil enough. Corn oil, high in omega-6s, which causes inflammation. You do not want to cook with canola oil. Just don't do it, okay? Organic, local when possible, food that is, this is what I've been, even as far back as my acupuncture practice, this is how I worked with my clients. Health first, right? What you're putting in your body first. So organic, high quality foods, meats. I don't encourage anything out of a package that read the labels. What is in the food? Really, goddesses, you need to do this. You need to do this if you're not doing it already. I might be preaching to the choir, but even I need to work on in what I take in sometimes. Like, I always buy really high quality foods, but I have been thinking about some of the things that I buy, some of the choices I make, even if it's organic. Like, some of the stuff I buy is in a can. Like, well, what happened to that product on its way to my house, right? What happened in that can? What's going on in that can? So really, this is part of self-responsibility. Take responsibility for your health. Filter your water. Filter your damn water. Okay? There are a lot of experts out there that are going to tell you that your tap water is safe. Now, safe in that it's not going to kill you. But what is in your water? What is in your water? Do you even know? Filter your water. I use the Berkey filter. I'll link it up in my show notes. The Berkey filter is the one I use. A lot of people do reverse osmosis. Now, here's the thing with reverse osmosis. Do your research. But as far as I know, many of them filter out everything. So part of what makes water so good for you is it's a product of Mother Earth, right? All the minerals that we need are in water. A lot of minerals, not all the minerals, but many of the minerals that our body needs are in water. So you need to drink water that is mineralized. Reverse osmosis filters remove the minerals. As far as I know, if you find one that does not remove minerals, let me know. Reach out to me. But I like the Berkey filter. I like that it's portable. I can take it with me if I feel like I'm going to be somewhere where I'm not going to have water, like clean water available to me. Like, I'm not perfect at this. Like, I just went to Florida. The water situation, oh my God, the water at the place that we stayed at stunk so badly of chlorine that I can't even imagine what else was in it. It was really noticeable. What I can say, and I will give credit to, is the water that we have up here in my corner of the world in Massachusetts, I think in general is very clean, but it's still treated, right? They have to treat the water. They have to put fluoride in the water. They have to put chlorine and whatever else they do to kill the germs in the water. So a good filtering system is going to take that out. Okay. Fluoride, not good. Okay. No, boy, no, it's not good. Do the research. Okay. You're not going to find it in the mainstream, but fluoride blocks your intuition. It calcifies your pineal gland and it will block your intuition. Okay. So get rid of your fluoride toothpaste, get rid of the things that have fluoride in them. Say no to fluoride when you go to the dentist. I am willing to put myself out on a limb by saying that just take responsibility for your health and do the research. Okay. Question what you have been told about fluoride. I feel like there are so many tips. So I'm going to end this fairly soon. I know I said that a while ago, but let me sit with it and see if this is a series. I might do more on this. Let me know. Please let me know how you feel about this and if this is helpful. Please leave me a review if you find this helpful, this information, if it's changed your life, if it's changed the way that you're looking at things. Please, please, please leave a review in Apple Podcasts. Share this with your friends and your family. I'm not messing around anymore. I feel like I have kind of always been bold and said things that are surprising to some people. But I'm going to step up my game and be even bolder because this is important. This is important. We need to take responsibility for ourselves in all aspects. Okay, we need to build wealth. We need to get into the energetic frequency of inner peace at all times. We need to develop a really strong, healthy foundation and have radiant health. And we need to manage our energy balance. We need to be balanced in the masculine and feminine energies. Let me sit with this after I release it and see. I have been hearing that this needs to be a 4-part series. Let me just check with that. I feel like I offered you a lot in this episode, but there's so much more I can share. So if you want to work with me, reach out to me or go onto my website, angelanoelinternational.com/links. You can apply for a 4-month mentorship with me, or you can also do single calls with me. Okay. Single calls are really, really powerful and there's so much that could be accomplished in one call. So those are your options if you want to work with me. I do have more exciting things coming, probably in the fall, a group program. So if you want to be in a container with me, I suggest that you subscribe to my newsletter and you will be in the know. Also, just subscribe to this podcast. Follow me on Instagram at i.am.angela.noel or TikTok with the same handle. And you'll always be in the know. You'll be connected to me. So until next time, goddesses, be radiant, be powerfully authentic, and know that you can reclaim your fire at any time. Until then, I love you all so, so much. Let's do our part to build our inner empires so that we can change the world and ultimately build our outer empire. Take care. Hi, this is Angela Noel, and thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have found value in listening to this podcast, I would be so grateful if you could kindly share this podcast with those you care about. Please help me spread the word of empowerment and possibility and expansion by sharing this podcast. Or you could also leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Remember to follow me on Instagram at I am Angela Noel, or you could go to my website at www.angelanoelinternational.com to learn more about my work and to find out how you can work with me. Thank you very much.